2026 is initiating a really powerful wave of purification. The three-eye atlas, the blue star Kachina, it is the ninth and final sign in the Hopi prophecies. What it's saying is, at the time of this ninth sign, the age of purification will begin. With this fiery energy that's coming in with the fire horse, it wants to take us into this hurrah, this chaos, this upliftment. Allow the purifying fires to first move through our own bodies, to realize that so much of these perverted ideas and energies have already come in and infected our very own consciousness. This body is literally a gift from God. It is a temple of the Holy Spirit that we're meant to live in such a holy and sanctified way that the only way that we'll come back into right relationship with the world and humanity is by first coming back into right relationship within ourselves. Hello everyone! It's been a while since I've made one of these videos, but I am beyond excited to be bringing this 2026 Fire Horse Energy Report. I mean, the world is going through a really crazy phase right now, and we have just seen the three-eye atlas come past our solar system. Many believe that this was the blue star Kachina from the Hopi prophecy, which I also believe, based on the things that has been happening in my own life, it is absolutely this time of prophecy being fulfilled. The age of purification speaks to a time when the evil and the vile has to be made public, has to be seen, has to be purged from the earth before heaven on earth and a new reality can be created. And so while there is a lot of excitement in the air, there is also a lot of nauseating truth that are coming up to the surface. And recently I've been seeing a lot of really hard to stomach information coming through on social media from the Epstein files. And so I wanted to create this energy report to kind of give my insight on what I've been seeing through my seer vision on what's coming in 2026. A lot of information that's been out these days speak to this horse energy coming out of the stable, running full speed ahead. And I'm sensing that this energy isn't quite like that. Understanding that the horse is an animal that doesn't run all the time. The horse actually spends most of his time grazing in this deep, gentle energy. The horse has a massive heart and is really a healer. And we know that a lot of people experience profound healings in equine therapy, and it being this fire horse energy, the horse definitely gallops, just not all the time. So I hope that this energy report is going to give us an overview of the kind of the waves and tides that we're going to see this year. Currently, we are in this time of transition from the serpent energy to the horse energy. And so we're in, a lot of people say, the tail of the serpent, but it actually isn't a tail energy that we're experiencing now. The serpent is shedding her skin, but she is still moving forward into the fire horse year, carrying the wisdom that she's gained from the entire year of 2025. This time of year calls for us to stay grounded, to stay consistent and focused, because with this fiery energy that's coming in with the fire horse, it wants to take us into this hurrah, this chaos, this upliftment. But what we really need is to understand that even a horse on a racetrack needs to go straight, needs to go forward. We need to focus this momentum, this fire that we're feeling, into a single focus in order to arrive at the destination that we're going. Like, if a horse is just running wild in all different directions, we're not going to get where we want to go. One really interesting thing I discovered about the fire horse is that there is a Japanese superstition that every year when it's the fire horse, which is every 60 years, there is a 25% drop in birth rate. And this is because there is a superstition that fire horse women are too strong-willed, that they will surpass men and they will devour 7 husbands and bring ruin to their families. And the last sentence actually blew my mind. It said that these women cannot peacefully fulfill their duties as women. This is a really interesting energy because already I am sensing that both the serpent and the horse are both symbols of feminine wisdom. What we're seeing in the world right now is this upliftment of this divine feminine energy, this revival of the divine feminine. But coming with that is all of the shadow energies as well, because there is a rage, there is a pain, there is these unhealed wounds that are seeking justification, seeking justice, seeking revenge. And without us really understanding and tempering this energy, this could very easily derail the divine feminine rising that is occurring now. So the serpent year was like this massive awakening of the feminine spirit. The true original teachings of Holy Mother are beginning to resurface, and we're learning that Holy Mother isn't a goddess in and of herself. Holy Mother is just the feminine energy and the feminine qualities of a unified single God that we have been calling Father these whole time. And of course, there is a Holy Father quality to our God. There is a very divine masculine, king-like, protective leadership quality to this God. But we've been going through this thousands of years of patriarchy where the feminine qualities of God has been hidden from humanity. And there's been a really big reason for this, obviously. The mother aspects of God helps us feel intimate, helps us feel safe, helps us feel a God that really cares and holds us, and not only sends us off into initiations, but also nurtures and provides and feeds us. So the resurgence of the feminine divine is such a key aspect of the collective consciousness awakening. But just as any great awakening, there will always come a shadow. My 2026 actually began with a demon following me around for 3 days. It happened on New Year's Eve into the first 2 days of this year. And I was out on the land sitting with the earth, and I was feeling a little bit exhausted from my work. And so I went to sit to co-regulate my nervous system with the earth. And as soon as I went to sit down, I felt this feminine spirit approach me. And at first, it looked just like Mother Earth. If I didn't have my discernment goggles, if I wasn't more trained in spiritual mastery, I probably would have been fooled, because at first this being pretended to be Mother Earth. It appeared so much like Mother Earth. And she started to whisper these things in my ear like, women are so amazing. Women are so great. And of course, I agree with all these things. And so I was really interested to hear what this being had to say. But very quickly, when it felt like it had gained my trust, it started to say things like, oh, men don't deserve to be on this planet. We don't need men. Look at what these men have done. The masculine is so horrible. And if you followed me, if you worship me, if you channel my messages and post them on the internet, I will make you famous. So immediately I recognized that here was a demon that was trying to make a deal with me. And I immediately just looked away from this being and went straight to God. And I started praying to God and Jesus, and I started saying, what do you want me to do? Clearly there is a being here. And God said, let her be there, because this is part of your assignment. There is something about 2026 you need to understand. And so there I was, allowing this demon to sit there, obeying the guidance of God, and really putting on my discernment and my detective goggles. I was going to learn everything I needed to learn about this being and what she had to warn me about in 2026. Over the next few days, she continued to berate me about men and about how awful men are and how wounded we have been by men, by the hands of men, and how Holy Father is not needed, how we shouldn't have a king, how, it was full of this pain. And I could feel that so many women have already been deceived by this being, because I have seen already an uptick of this kind of narrative, this kind of information, this kind of guidance and channelings on Instagram and YouTube. And eventually what was revealed to me was that the fire horse is going to be a very powerful year for the divine feminine rising, because we've come out of this year of the serpent, which was all about the wisdom of death and cycles and the earth and the deep and the rebirth. And there is so much abundance that we are about to bring up into the light, to feed to the fire, to rise into nourishment of our spirit. And the horse is, of course, another divine feminine wisdom symbol. Knowing that this year already comes with the superstition, that this year is about that strong-willed feminine that overrides the patriarchy, that rises above and ready to fight, what I'm sensing is that there is a demonic force that is waiting to capitalize on our pain. This force wants us to swing the pendulum onto the other side and to use the shadow of our unhealed wounds to take the feminine into a dangerous territory of rebellion and resistance of Holy Father. There is a Holy Mother and a Holy Father who lives eternally in union. Our God is this holy force of love that is beyond gender. So this energy is really powerful, and it's trying to lead the divine feminine into our full power. But what it's warning us is that there are demonic forces that are looking to take advantage of our wounds and our unhealed shadows to swing the pendulum on the other side. Because if we can establish a female dominant religion, we would end up in the same place in a few thousand years, right? A matriarchy and a patriarchy, a male or a female dominant reality are both fractured, and neither of those realities will allow the true frequency of Christ to actually be embodied inside of every human being. And that is what leads to this reality of heaven on earth. So Satan and these realms of demons don't really care who is above any other. Satan doesn't care who is in charge and who is the most powerful. As long as there is one gender or one tribe or one people that is more powerful than anyone else, we're still existing in a realm of fracture, which is the realm of Antichrist. Now, Christ itself just means union. It is a force of love that unites all of creation. It is a force of love between our Holy Mother and Holy Father that creates, through miracles, all of the beauty that we have in this world. And so long as they can pit any one people against another, in this case, as we see this rising of the divine feminines, there is a demonic force coming to meet us, to derail us through our hatred and our pain, to lose sight of the very thing that we're actually most devoted to, which, as a priestess of Christ, we are most devoted to not only Holy Mother, but also Holy Father. In fact, we are actually most devoted to Christ, to God, to the creation of heaven on earth, and to the fulfillment of God's creation. So this is a year of the rising of the true divine feminine Christ, and with that, the rising of the true Holy Father principle in the earth as well. The principles of creation will always rise together because they're actually never separate. They're always in union. On the world stage, however, we might see an aggravation in misogyny because as this feminine energy is rising out of oppression, it is not only being met with this distortion, but also met with further depression. 2026 is initiating a really powerful wave of purification. The three-eye atlas, the blue star Kachina, it is the ninth and final sign in the Hopi prophecies. What it's saying is, at the time of this ninth sign, the age of purification will begin. So we are not quite entering into the age of the new earth. We must first go through this age of fire. It is divine timing that we're seeing the release of the Epstein files now, and such nauseating and vile and evil information is finally being brought to light. This is actually a really good sign, except for most people, this is only the very surface of our awakening. What the light workers are being called into through this age of purification is to allow the purifying fires to first move through our own bodies, to realize that so much of these perverted ideas and energies have already come in and infected our very own consciousness and our very own body, that we are accepting violence and perversion as normal, and we are allowing ourselves to watch these television shows and infect our eyes, allow our spirit to be infected with this perversion. This purification will ask for the light workers to really begin to identify the distortions we're needing to purge out of our life, to truly live a holy and sanctified life, to recognize that this body is literally a gift from God. This body is literally a gift from God. It is a temple of the Holy Spirit, that we're meant to live in such a holy and sanctified way, that the only way that we'll come back into right relationship with the world and humanity is by first coming back into right relationship within ourselves, to remember that we are a child of God, a temple of the Most High, that it is only through this union above and below, from the heavens inside of our own self, that we can be a true channel, a conduit for heaven on earth. We're going to realize that there are layers of our being that are under the grip of demonic forces. And this is why in a couple of weekends, February 20th to 22nd, I'm going to be running a 3-day miracle portal container. Again, it's called Starseed, to profit the Rainbow Prophecy Activation. And it is for all of us who are being called, who are feeling this frequency calling us into mission and ministry, and knowing that we need to be prepared. If a demon were to come into your house, if you were met with someone that is possessed, would you know what to do? So this training is about bring us into alignment with the prophetic nature of our times, and also to train you in the demon realm. The whole entire second day is going to be about spiritual warfare and understanding how the demon realm works. Especially in the face of the Epstein files, we're going to understand exactly why these people are doing these horrible things and how it's affecting human consciousness on a collective level and how it's affecting the planet. And once we have this understanding, we're going to be able to use this awareness to clean out our body, understanding that so many of our negative thoughts, negative beliefs are rooted in demonic oppression inside of our own body. If we believe that we're not good enough, if we think that we're not beautiful and not holy and not lovable and that we are not powerful, if we think any of those things, we have to realize that that is not the truth. That is not how God created us. And so if we're thinking those thoughts, then they are not our own thoughts. That the demonic realm and the spiritual warfare is mostly occurring through our own mind and through our own bodies. And we have to recolonize the territory that is our body. These bodies are a vessel for God's own miracles, God's own love, God's own energy, God's own power that is going to flow through the 144,000. And in order for us to actually receive and live in the spirit, we have to first master our body as the front lines of the spiritual war. And so if this energy calls to you, if you want to kickstart the Fire Horse year in this amazing way, I invite you to join this 3-day event. The link is in the description. Now, a lot of people think that 2026 is a 1 year, and being a Fire Horse year means we're going to get out the gate, we're going to be running, it's going to be a lot of momentum, but the truth is that 2026 is actually also a 10 year. So it being this alchemy of 10, which is about, of course, perfect completion, and the 1, which is this new creation, it's really a crossover energy between the completion and the new beginning. So what we're seeing is this purification, the collapsing of all of that is in the old world that is needing to be complete, and this rising of this new energy, the creation of this new world. So 2026 is more of a transition year. It's more of a preparation year for 2027, which of course the 211 is this portal of birth. So there is going to require a lot of grounded stability, consistency, which this fire energy is going to be hard for us, but we have to tame it. We have to actually claim the fire and bring inside of us and single focusedly point it towards something so that we're prepared for what's coming. And in our time, the light workers are really needing to focus on our connection to God. There is a massive transition happening in the Starseed community where we are where there's a lid that's coming off of our consciousness, where previously we thought our mission was coming from the stars, coming from the Pleiades, the Arcturus, but realizing very quickly that our mission is actually coming from the heart of God. Our mission has come from the Most High, and there is a level of maturation, a level of growth, a level of further embodiment of holy principles that will need to take place in this foundation laying year that is the 10 and 1 energy of 2026. In this year, we're going to see new gifts blossom, new abilities, new psychic ways of seeing. These healing abilities are never seen before because now we're walking into the realms of the miraculous. We are seeing the way of the world, and it really is like this giant. It is like the story of David and Goliath, where we are seeing the massive satanic underbelly of the world, and we feel like these little humans. How are we actually going to defeat this satanic reality that has controlled humanity for thousands and thousands of years? Well, it would be absolutely delusional and impossible to defeat this enemy without understanding who has come to defeat this enemy. And that who is, of course, God. And it is God that has sent the angels to this earth now to play part in the fulfillment of these prophecies. And so in order for us to awaken these superpowers, it is no longer about opening our third eye or doing breathwork ceremonies. It is about forging this profound relationship with the Most High, with this God that has seeded profound revelation, wisdom, abilities, and timelines into the DNA of the starseeds and the light workers, and otherwise known as the 144,000. That we are meant to not only experience, but be a conduit for miracles that will shift the tide on planet Earth. It is the 144,000 that make the presence of God so known on the earth. It is through the 144,000 that we will see revelation take place. Now, that is a massive jump. It is a quantum leap of maturation from the starseed that is full of joy, full of innocence. We're seeing that this is a necessary piece of the puzzle. Our joy and the purity of God's love that we're holding like a covenant inside of our beings. We remember what God's love truly is like beyond all distortions and false gods and false wars of the past ages. We remember this pure stream of God's love that is the true source of miracles and the storytelling that is unfolding on the earth right now. But at the same time, we're being asked to land that prophetic nature into our humanity of recognizing that our presence is here to transform the face of the earth. And there's a lot of responsibility that comes with that. So we need to learn skills. We need to heal our traumas. We need to understand the weight that has been placed within us, not on our shoulders though, because we're not here to save the world. Jesus has already saved the world. We're here to witness prophecy be fulfilled. We're here to be joy and wonder-filled, innocent souls that love God so much that literally allow God's miracles to flow through us. But there is a power, there is a groundedness, there is a stability, there is a leadership that we're meant to hold and express in the world. The reason why the starseeds have not known exactly what to do is because we haven't come home to the source of our mission. Every starseed always tells me, I feel like I'm here for heaven on earth. Well, I say track the source of that energy. Where does that come from? Every light worker has this belief that we're here for heaven on earth, and it's like tattooed into our spirit. Where did that come from? What force wove that thread into our soul? Well, it was the very hands of God in the eternal that seeded us into this world with this feeling inside of our being. And as we come home to the source that has created us, we awaken our DNA to this power that we're meant to hold in our body. God keeps showing me this vision of a tidal wave that crashes down upon this earth, but it isn't a wave of water. It is a wave of God's presence, God's power, God's love, God's holiness. And this wave washes through the world and collapses everything that is not coming with us, but it empowers and it rises up the souls that are always meant to walk on this water. We're really moving towards embodying the conduits of miracles that we were born on this planet to be. The energy coming through the stargates are so brilliant. They're so majestic. What God has planned for this planet is beyond words. We're now being called to truly commune with the majesty and holiness of that timeline and to bring it into our bodies so we can operate from that place of prophetic power. And if you're feeling called by this energy, I invite you into my 3-day miracle portal container, February 20th to the 22nd. Coming fresh out of the gate of the fire horse here, we're diving right into the timeline of prophecy. We're going to talk about the rainbow prophecy and prophecies from the Bible and all over the world. And then we're going to dive an entire day into spiritual warfare, mastery over the demonic realms, and understanding how to truly walk with miracles and be a force of healing in this world. And then we will do a planetary prayer to truly awaken the prophecy timelines on the planet. If you are feeling like you are called to align with this energy this year, we all need prayers. We all need support. God has stationed me here to transmit these frequencies of activation to you. So if you're feeling called to this, it's so important for us to gather and come together to receive these signals together from God, and understanding that angelic forces are approaching and are landing on this earth now. And what is coming is going to surprise everyone. What is coming is going to be so grand that we are being called into preparing for these timelines now. Truly, when I just take a moment of stillness and be with God, I see these auroras of God's love, of holiness, of sacredness raining down upon this planet. This God that I know is not here for revenge, is not here for destruction. Even though there are things that must be destroyed for what is coming, there is a certain grace, there is a certain holiness, there is a certain prophetic nature to what is unfolding now, that is here to teach, that is here to guide, that is here to open the way. This force is now reaching through the screen and calling you into alignment, calling you into the timeline that you were always meant to walk. And so I can't wait to see you soon, and I will see you in the next video.